Hey everybody, good afternoon. It's December 11th, about 3:25 in the afternoon. This is probably going to be a bit lengthy. I'm still trying to wrap my head around some of this stuff. Yesterday morning, I was contacted that I needed to show proof of disability that I've received since 2013, which is when, a lot of my medical issues became a lot worse. Obviously, they've gradually gotten worse, but that's when it got to the point where, it hindered with me working out of the house and being essentially a reliable employee to any employer due to my health. So went through the process of disability with Social Security in 2012, and in 2013 is when they came to the judgment of, yes, I'm qualified for disability, and that's fine. That's what the last 11 years, March will be 12 years of me dealing with that. So I was notified that I needed to show proof of disability to Medicare, which has been my primary insurance for, again, since 2013. The way I always assumed it to be is that Medicare, Social Security worked hand in hand, and what they see on one end, the other, sees on their end, and it all gels together. But whatever, they said it's part of like a review process. No problem. I'll figure out a way to get that letter. It can't be that hard. Just go onto my Social Security account and log in, which I tried to do yesterday, and I couldn't log in. So I thought I forgot my password. So I asked for a new password. They sent me a new password and attempted it again, and it said that they didn't have record of that email on file. Okay, well, you just sent me an email with a new password, but you don't have the email on file. Okay, doesn't make sense, but whatever. At about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, I called Social Security 800 number, and was told that there was approximately 120-minute wait, is what the recording said. So clearly 2 hours. Fine. Didn't give me the option to have anybody call me back or anything, and like you keep your place in line and all that. Just 120 minutes wait. Kept the phone on speaker. Went about the rest of the afternoon. Spent time with the boys. Got dinner ready for Giovanni around 5:30. So now we're going on 2.5 hours, and still nobody has answered. Social Security office is open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. I had the speaker on, or I had it on speaker, and at 6:59 it said the Social Security office is now closed, and it disconnected the call. So I was like, okay, well, I'm sitting there on hold like a fucking idiot for about 4 hours. It's not like I was doing anything like crazy. It didn't interrupt my time with my kids. It didn't, prevent me from getting dinner together. Nothing like that. So whatever, try again tomorrow, meaning today. So first thing this morning, I called back, and now it did give me the option for somebody to call me back, which they did. And I explained to them the situation. I'm trying to log in. I need to pull up a form called proof of income, or I don't know, just showing that I received disability. and what the amount is. She's like, yeah, no problem. We can help you with that. And I said, well, the only issue is I can't log into my account. Every time I do it, it either tells me, they don't have my email on file, or when I attempted to create a new account with a different email address, it says we can't verify your identity. And she's like, oh, it's probably because you tried a new email address than we have on file here. Okay. Asked me tons of security questions, and obviously one of them was my social security number. And she's like, hold on a second. And she, doesn't put me on hold, but like I hear her doing stuff. And she's like, I just need you to verify your name again. I do. Your address, your birthday, phone number, fucking shoe size, whatever else they asked. I'm not really sure, but just everything possible just to verify who I was. And she's like, well, we have a different name on file for that social security number. And I was like, how's that possible? And she's like, well, did you ever go by another name? Said either John Salvatore Floria or John Floria, one or the other. And what's your birth date again? February 23rd, 1979. Okay. So let's press pause on that part of it. When I was born, went home to my mother. I'm not even going to use the F word, and I don't mean fuck, I mean the other person other than a mother, because this person was never and has never been that. But I guess by default, I don't know how things worked in 1979, but by default, my original birth certificate had his name on it. But my social security card, which I have and I've had to this day since I've been an adult, has the name Floria on it, which is not his name. So I'm like, oh, how did that happen? And she's like, not really sure, but that's what we have on file here. And I said, well, my mother and I went through the process in 1994, and when I was registering like for a new school district or whatever the circumstances were back then, and because there was essentially like a red flag that came up that your social security number doesn't match the name that you're giving us. Oh, then my mother had to go into detail to explain, well, he's never had his father's name. There you go, I just said the word. I didn't mean to. He's never gone by that name. He's never been with that person. Never spent the night with that person. Has no contact with that person. But okay, if that's the name that's on file, like from when he was born, okay, what do we do to change it? Well, I had to go through legal process. Fortunately, I have some family in northern New Jersey that are in the legal world. Attorneys, a retired judge, she was active at the time, who guided my mother through what we had to do to legally change my name, although I never went by the other name. So I remember being in a courtroom, had a day off of school for it. I remember being in a courtroom, being asked a million questions by a judge. I was, 15 at the time? 94, so yeah, I was 15. Just a million questions. Are you changing your name because you're running from the law? Are you changing your name for just a million different reasons? No. This is the reason why I'm changing my name. Plain and simple. Never gone by that other name. It's just a paperwork issue that, there's conflict because my social security number is coming up as that other name, although I have a social security card with the name I've always gone by, which is the name that everybody, all of you who know me, my family, like clearly my mother's side of the family, everybody up to this second only knows me by one name. I knew the other name existed because I knew his name, but I didn't know that it had an attachment to me at all whatsoever. Like, never. So she says, this woman says, I can make an appointment for you at the Social Security office in Orlando. And you can go there and you can bring, you know, A, B, C, D documents there, and they can make this fix for you. And I said, I'm not really understanding. Like, you're telling me that you're seeing that in 1994 that the process went through where we legally changed my name so that that other name didn't ever appear at any time. Nothing. She's like, yeah, I see that, but I also see that in 2003 that a change was made to go back to that other name. It's like, what? Like, 2003? So, like, it, like, as like, could it have been a glitch in the system? She's like, no, like, it has to be requested for that to be done. Now, I know I never would have, not even just no reason, I would never have a desire to. Like, why? Like, why would I do that? I don't know this person. I definitely would never think my mother or anybody in my family would do that. She's like, no, but like that, like, we didn't do that. Like, she's like, well, I'm seeing that here. I was like, okay, so I have to go to the Social Security office in Orlando to do that. Yeah, so she makes an appointment, fine. And I sat there after that hour-and-a-half phone call, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, just what the fuck is going on? And I hesitated to call back because I don't like to be on hold. I don't like to wait. I didn't want to repeat the story, which is why I'm doing this video, because I don't want to have to repeat it to every single person that I talk to. And if I get emotional over it, it's not because of, you know, needing to go through the process of, like, correcting all of this stuff. It's what it's doing to me, like the triggers. It's the rehashing of those years. And when I mean those years, I don't mean 2003 or, you know, anything. It's more so of like my childhood, which I'm on the phone with them and I'm talking about this person and I'm talking about why I would change my name, like legally change my name, although I never went by that name, like the other name. And it's just like reliving like why we did it. And, you know, like there's something that I was told ever since I was little, and it was, make sure you always look around because you never know where he's at. Word for word, that's how it's always been, from when I was little till, you know, I was old enough to protect myself. And when I moved away from New Jersey and went to North Carolina and then eventually to here, I thought I kind of like escaped him. So why would anybody have, in 2003 no less, I left New Jersey in 2002. It's like, why would anybody want to do that? Why would I want to rehash any of that stuff? But that's what these phone calls and that's what this process has been doing to me all morning. I never would have thought any of this last night when I made the phone call. I thought there was just something fucked up with the account. Like, either they may have had my email address typed in wrong, or my last name spelled wrong, which clearly all the fucking letters are wrong. I'm not gonna say the other name at all. There's a few people on my Facebook that know of that name, just because I can think of 3 or 4 off the top of my head, because they're a very integral part of protecting me from this person. I spend a lot of time with those people. They're still in my life. Whether I've seen them in a while or I haven't, they're a huge part of my life. They're a huge part of why I'm still here, protecting me from him. So yeah, so I sat there and debated whether I should call back and go through the whole process again, or repeating the story, and I was like, well, I gotta do this. I have to, I've got to do it, and I don't want to wait until disappointment. So I'm gonna call back and see if anybody can do anything different. Go through the same bullshit of, somebody will call you back. Wait time is 80 to 120 minutes. It's like, whatever. I'm not fucking doing anything, so sure. Well, we called back in about an hour. It was close to an hour, maybe a little less. And gentleman on the phone, same security questions. Verify who I am, and asked me my social security number. And he's like, we have 2 accounts here on file for you. I was like, yeah, I had to create a new account yesterday with my Gmail account because the original one was Hotmail and I couldn't log in with it, and it said it couldn't verify my identity. So yeah, I could understand why. I was like, but I prefer to use the Hotmail account. He's like, no, we have one social security number with 2 names. And I was like, both are active names with the same social security number? He's like, yeah, well, any mail that you get from us has this other name on it. I said, no, it doesn't. That's not true. I may get mail from Social Security quarterly. I don't know. I don't really pay attention. Definitely in the beginning of every year when cost of living goes up by a small percentage, well, then that alters what the disability check is. So, but it's official mail from Social Security Administration. But I think I get other mail from Social Security at other points during the year. Always open it, see what it is. Most of the time it seems like bullshit, but whatever. But I can guarantee you that the name that is always on the mail from Social Security is Floria. If I ever received a piece of mail from anyone, from Social Security, from a fucking political ad, from a store with coupons or some advertisement, but especially something as important as a government department, the same government department that automatically deposits disability payments into my bank account, which has my name on it, the only name I've ever gone by. The same department that does that has my last name as something different. And I'm like, okay, well, these 2 accounts are active. Are you telling me that my social security number and the fact that it says Floria on it, and that's the only name I go by, that's not valid currently? He's like, legally speaking, yes, we don't have that name as what your legal name is. We see the change was made legally in 1994, but we see that it was switched back in 2003. And I said, I'm sure you haven't been around for as long as Social Security Administration's been around. I said, have you ever heard of such a thing before? He's like, no. And to be honest with you, It's a huge red flag. He's like, you sure nobody in your family ever, change your name back? I said, I would put money on it that nobody did, but even at that point, at 23, what was I, 24? It's like, I would have had to approve something like that, don't you think? Like, and I clearly didn't do it. It's like, yeah, I'm not really sure why. I said, so if I were to go someplace and say, hey, listen, this is my social security number, here's my last name, don't you think, like, if it's something minor, like, just something minor, and they don't really do much of like a background check on it, okay, I could see them just trusting that that's my social security number because I have the social security card with my last name on it. Don't you think, somebody would say something? It's like, I really don't know what to tell you. He's like, I see you have an appointment here to go to the office in Orlando. I said, it's not going to work because I need this document like immediately. And so he's like, well, try to log into your account again. I'm going to see if I can add the Floria part to the name that we have on file. So I log into the account. I go to the link again where it says, like, I pull up documents, proof of benefit, proof of income, whatever the fuck it says. And it's as if, like, it's the same piece of paper that they would mail to me, but it doesn't have Floria on it. I'm like, this is not what I get in the mail. I would fucking lose my shit if at any point, going back as long as I could remember, if I ever saw that name on any piece of mail. He's like, I understand, but this is what we have in the system, that it was changed in 94, and then in 03, it was changed back. I said, but that change wasn't made by me. Like, he's like, but somebody had to have done it. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, because he has me, like, he puts me on hold, same thing as the other girl, but, like, he's doing stuff, like, he's trying to research shit. I was very appreciative of him. He was patient. He listened to everything I was saying. And I'm thinking to myself, we legally changed my name in 1994. Since 1994, or just say from 94 to 03, I got my driver's license. So, okay, I got my driver's license after the legal name change, and before, for whatever reason, it reverted back. When it reverted back in 03, which clearly was after the events of September 11th, 2001, I worked for 3 airlines in 3 airports in 3 states: New Jersey, North Carolina, and Florida. I don't know, like, I don't do the background checks, but I would think that they're fairly extensive, between fingerprints and drug tests and just other background checks, especially like with airlines, and especially after 01. Like, how did all this happen? Like, I worked for an airline in New Jersey after September 11th. I worked for a different airline in North Carolina after 01. And then I transferred to Orlando with that same airline, which became a different airline. Like, they were bought by another airline and they changed names. And I was in Florida after 03. I'm like, if it reverted back in 03, how does something, like, not register to where, like, oh no, we got a problem here, the social security number doesn't match the name? Not only, like, my employment with the airlines, I got married in 2004 and had to apply for a marriage certificate here in Florida. My first son was born after 03. My second son was born after 03. I got a fucking passport. A passport. Where they hounded me for like questions and whether it was stuff on paper and then I had to go in person. But I got a fucking passport. I purchased cars. I bought a house. I don't know how extensive hospitals and doctors and insurance companies and that kind of shit. Again, that goes back to Medicare. Like, I don't know how much like background stuff they check, but come on, man. I've been living in fucking hospitals and doctors' offices forever, and Medicare is my insurance. How's it not caught? Like, how are all these things happening between 2003 and now 2024? You know, I'm not proud to say, but like, I got divorced legally. A 3-year process with my name being what it is. My son's mother still has my last name, which according to Social Security in 03 was no longer valid. So how did that happen? How is my Social Security number and John Salvatore Floria on my kids' birth certificates? I don't understand. Like, I'm not understanding any of this. So the guy comes back on the phone and he's telling me, you know, like, I would keep that appointment, but I'm going to fax you a form to show that, you know, this is the form you're looking for. However, it's going to have both names on it. And I said, for the time being, that's fine. If I have to go and explain it to Medicare, so be it. But at least I have it. At least I have access to the form that has Floria on it, although it still has the other name. Give him the fax number, sends it, says it's confirmed. It's received as only a fucking cover letter, not the form that has the information that's needed. Literally just a cover letter. There's no chance I'm calling back there today. No chance. I'm not sure that I'll call back tomorrow. And I hung up. Giovanni's in school, Rocco's at work, and I hung up. Just me here. Obviously not now because I'm in the car, but it's just me here and the 3 dogs. And I thought to myself, like, I thought that part of my life was over. Sure, like, that person did reach out to me in 2014 through Facebook, and I gave him a chance and met him in person in the summer of 2014. Yeah, he reached out to me in April of 14, and I saw him for the first time in, I believe, July. And we remained in contact very, you know, I warned him when I first met with him and talked through the computer and a couple times over the phone. And I warned him, I said, you know, you may have whatever title you have in my life. I may be considered your son. I said, but if this is going to happen to where I meet up with you or we stay in contact, it's going to be under my rules. It's going to go how I say. You fuck up once, you're done. And he agreed. And I met up with him. We stayed in contact for a little while. We met up a few times. I had him meet my kids at least twice. I spoke on the phone. He called more often than I answered. But if we spoke on the phone 20 times since 2014 to now, I should say to 2023, because I had to cut him off. Haven't had contact with him at any point this calendar year, because he went against what I said wasn't allowed. And like, that part of my life is over. And I know it sounds like I'm going all over the place, but it's all connected. It's all connected. And I'm very open about like mental health, and I go to therapy weekly. I find it to be a huge benefit. I think I'm a better person. I think I'm in a better mind frame than I was 2-3 years ago and beyond. A lot of it stems from him. A lot of it stems from events of my childhood. A lot of it stems from loss, death, my own health events that have happened. And this whole situation between, finding out that I needed to log into the account, and then this morning finding out that my social security number doesn't match the name that I have, it only matches the other one, has rehashed every single memory that I could think of this person. And the only way I could describe it is it's very haunting. Not that I think he's gonna show up where I am, because he's got the mental capacity of a fucking 5 or 6 years old, and that might be being generous. So it's not that. But I think I was always instilled with like the fear of him. And that's something I'm trying to get past. Again, it's not so much that I think he's going to show up somewhere. It's what he, the wiring, I guess. I guess I have some of his wiring, just like I do with my mother. And that relationship is very contentious for a lot of the same reasons. My mother, we just don't see eye to eye. And especially as I've been, I don't want to go too much in detail, but as I once I decided I needed to start the healing process a few years back, and I saw how much of a role my mother played in how I got to where I was, I brought it to her attention, and I wanted her to at least acknowledge it or recognize it. And instead I was told that you just need to let it go. You're too angry and you don't know how to let it go. And I realized through therapy, not that I didn't have like an idea of like that's just a fucked up way to think or what to say to your kids, but I've realized like that's not an option. Maybe in time, like with the healing process, I will move past it, but it'll always be a part of me. And it's like I said, it's almost like I feel like I don't exist with this whole situation. At the end of the day, it could have just been a clerical error, which I wouldn't be surprised if it has to do with government shit. But for them to, like, both people to say no, like, the change was requested and it reverted back to the old name in 2003, I was like, who would do that? Like, who the fuck would do that? Nobody that I know, I guess in quotes, or think I know. But who the fuck would do that? I have no reason to do it. If they said it was done in 2004, around the time when I applied for a marriage license, okay, maybe something fucked up technical happened and it went back to that. But the year doesn't even match up to that. Nothing does. Nothing at all does. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I can get past, like, the fuck-ups of, the Social Security department or whoever reverted it back. I can get past that and say, all right, well, people make mistakes, and I say then fix it. Just fucking fix it. What I have a really hard time with, and it's not just this situation, it's a lot of things. A real, I want to say a majority of things that like go on, that experience. I'm not special. I know that. I'm not special. I'm not unique. I know I'm not the only person that goes through stupid shit, bad shit, traumatic shit, painful shit. I know that. I get it. But it's what it triggers to me, and then I feel like with the steps I've made through therapy, it's like almost like chutes and ladders. Like, all right, you go left to right on the board, and you get to the ladder and you climb up and you skipped over a row, up, you rolled a 4, and now you landed on the slide and you go backwards. That's what it feels like. Like, I make progress, and then you slide right back down. And it's like, so I wrote, like, on my Facebook page, like, when I said I was going to make this video today, I was like, it really does. It's like a tsunami. Either, like, the tsunami is going to come on shore and, like, just clobber you and attempt to drown you, or, you know, like, just some water kind of trickles over over the shore, like, onto land, but it doesn't, completely submerge you. That's what it feels like. And it's like when I get past, and that's the right word, when I work through things and I think that there's like some positivity that I can see, it's like, what's next? And I have that mentality often. What's next? Like, what's the next thing? Like, the fucking surgery that I had, but it didn't do what it was supposed to do. Like, I live with what I do, like, gastrointestinal wise, for, what am I, 45? I've had issues since I was like 14, 15, but technically diagnosed for almost 25 years. And you saw, like, the light at the end of the tunnel with the surgery, and then they wake up and nope, couldn't do it. And it's like, all right, well, I went and rolled a 3 or a 4, and I landed on the slide and went backwards. And it seems like it's never ending. This week has been rough. Like, take my shit out of it, because it's probably really, really, really minor compared to watching my son go through, like, the first real traumatic loss in his life. A 19-year-old really close friend of his, and, like, the thought of, like, that kid's family is heartbreaking for any parent to think about. I guess my eyes are focused on my son, which it's devastating to see, but I know I have to be, and I want to be there for him, to listen, to be supportive. Anything that he needs, I'm there. But then I'm told at therapy that, yes, like, being there, being present, and listening that's what that's what a good parent would do. But you can't let it be something that you wear also, because you're trying to shed, meaning me, trying to shed the layers of trauma that I've experienced. I can't wear the trauma that my son is experiencing. But I don't know how to do that. Like, I don't know how to do that at all. And maybe in time with therapy I'll learn, but I can't help but like put my stuff aside and be like, you know what? I'm here. Like, I may not be healthy or well or whatever you want to call it. I'm here. There's a family that doesn't have their child anymore, who's essentially the same age as my son, and I cannot possibly fathom what that's like. And that happened 3 days after a 1-year anniversary of an amazing, bright, handsome, polite, respectful, loving 15-year-old who I coached in baseball and was, you know, I guess I never knew the impact that my sons and I had on him. But apparently we did. And that was the 1-year anniversary on December 5th. And like, it's hard not to rehash that. It's hard not to relive the phone call of getting that news. But what do? I think of his parents. I think of his grandparents, his grandmother who called to tell me. And I'm not supposed to wear that. I have to just continuously focus on me healing, be present and be supportive, but not like kind of shoulder any of that. That doesn't seem right to me. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. And again, like, I guess it's really minor in the grand scheme of things to other people that hear it, like the bullshit with me today. But it's like I've lived essentially my whole life hiding from this person, other than for a few years where I gave him a chance. And it's like, here we go again. Not that I need to see him or he has to be a part of anything, because he won't be. There's no fucking way like that's not ever gonna happen. I don't even know if he's still alive or not. I don't stay in touch with him. And as morbid as it sounds, I don't know, once a week, maybe once every couple weeks, I'll type his name in and the town where I know he lives, and I'll always type in the word obituary at the end, just to see if that's what happened to him. I don't know. And like I said, maybe my shit is really fucking minor in comparison to these families losing their kids, or other people dealing with, you know, life-threatening illnesses, or family members that they love that have addictions that they can't help them overcome yet. Mine is probably really minor to other people. But for me, it's extremely detrimental. Meaning this. Yeah, it hurts to see my son hurt. It kills me. It hurts to see December 5th pop up on the calendar and know, well, a year ago, on my way up to see my friend who was in a horrendous car accident with his wife in South Carolina, I get a phone call about a 15-year-old family member being killed on his way to school, got hit by a school bus. And it's like, how do I not like wear that too? Like, I don't know how to do that. So while my shit in the grand scheme of things about my name, my social security number, they don't fucking match, are way less important than that. It's the other parts that come with this, which I've been working really hard to like get through and get past with therapy. He's a haunting individual. I said for years, until he reached out. I said, if I ever find this motherfucker, I'm gonna kill him. Clearly I didn't. It's just the anger in me that, I carried with me for a lot of years. And, he broke the rules, if you want to say, my rules. And I said earlier, things are going to go my way or else you're done. I'm done with you. And I'm able to do that. Like, I'm able to cut that cord. It wasn't really strong to begin with. And from 2014, when he reached out, up until the last communication in 2023, I think of him, but I don't think of like, oh, what am I missing out on? Nothing. I'm not missing out on anything. I have a great father. When my mother got remarried in 1991, I have a great father. Great. And although, some people may say, oh, that's your stepfather. No, that's my father. And he's great to me. But it's like, when does this stuff end? It's things like this that, like, send me to scary places. Scary for me. I don't know. I just wanted to share that with everyone. And it's not so much of the focus of the Social Security Department. It's fucking stupid, or my name doesn't match my Social Security number, and trying to figure out the mystery of who went ahead and changed it, or if it was just a mistake. Or it's not. It's what it's like, the emotional toll. And I want to be present for everybody. Anybody that reaches out, I want to be present for. And something that, like, was brought to my attention, not really recently, but like over the last few months, is that you're the first person that always is like giving advice, which turns out to be very helpful advice. And I listen, and if I'm asked for advice, I give it. If I see something alarming, I give my 2 cents. But I don't always follow the same thing for myself, which is another part of what I'm trying to work through at therapy. And people are like, well, why don't you? Why, when people say like, oh, well, you helped me with this, I appreciate it so much, I'm gonna say thank you. I'm not gonna just ignore it. But the deeper rooted issue that Michelle, my therapist, who I adore, I think she's extremely beneficial to my well-being long term. She's like, because you don't think that you deserve that. And that was instilled in you for a long time. And I think she's right. I think she's right when I get compliments about anything. If it's about the things that I write, I believe that because I genuinely believe that I'm good at it. If somebody says like, that I'm funny, I accept that because I fucking know I'm funny. I know I am. But there's a lot of funny people that are in a lot of bad places. And this situation this morning, I don't know that it's not shocking. I don't know what that there would be really shocking things that kind of I would see as shocking anymore. Like it seems like nothing really surprises me. It's just I thought I was past it. I thought I was past that. Not like in the healing process part, but like never have to hear that name again. Never have to retell the story again. Whether it's by calling Social Security, whether it's going to a Social Security office, whether it's telling a story about this motherfucker who's a piece of shit, dead or alive. I thought I was past that. And then I'm reminded this morning, no. My social security number is attached to that fucking name. How I was ever cleared to have a passport, how I was ever cleared to work in airports, especially after September 11th, how I obtained a marriage license, how my name is on my kids' birth certificates, how I bought vehicles, bought a house, how any of that stuff, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And if you happen to read, see, I'm fucking losing it. If you happen to watch and listen to this whole thing, all I ask is please, again, please do not say anything about feeling bad for me or anything like that. It's not that I don't think that people mean it, but there's a lot more important people going through a lot more important shit. And I don't just mean with the Social Security card shit. There's a lot more important people going through things a hell of a lot worse than me. I don't like sympathy. I don't like condolences. I just don't like that. And I guess it comes back to what my therapist said, is that because at the end of the day, you probably don't think you deserve it. And if that's true, then that's true. Then I accept that part of me. But I just don't like it. It makes me feel uncomfortable. And if you happen to watch this whole thing and you have any feedback, if you have any questions, post it online. If you haven't been made aware yet, I'm pretty much an open book. Certain things I won't share, like people's names, maybe dates and places, just to protect myself, protect my kids. But if there's any questions or any feedback anyone has, you can always send me a private message. You can text me. You can anything. But that's it. It's 4:15. I'll be home all night. I'll probably be home all day tomorrow. If I have it in me to make another phone call to Social Security to see if they could send something more than a fucking cover page, I don't know. Then maybe I'll do that too. Or maybe I'll just book a Disney cruise and disappear for a few days. I don't know. Anyone that's ever sent supportive messages to me in any fashion, I do appreciate that. That I do appreciate. I'm not gonna say I like it, but I appreciate it and I accept that. But don't feel bad. Like, don't. I'm not worth that energy for anybody to feel bad for. That's all. And I'll talk to you soon.